there's this beautiful person, this loving person who has this loving relationship with children, and then we feel gutted when we find out that he's abusing them and actually killing them.
And I mean, that's what we're doing. We're commenting on it. We're not passing judgment.
Yeah, yeah.
So
and we're not really offering any answers either.
We just didn't want to fit into that stereotypical, let's explore this issue
and let's abuse it, let's kill the pedophile. I'm Emily Byrne.
I'm Sean Mulcahy.
And I'm Amelia Ducker.
And
welcome to
Send in the Clowns from Monash University.
Well, we were trying to do a comedy at the very beginning. We thought, let's do a black comedy.
Yeah. And then we had all these brilliant ideas and we got up to do it and it just fell apart. So we're just like, okay, let's start again.
We started again about five or six times, I think.
Yeah.
And we'd get to a certain point and then we just didn't know where to move on from there. So we literally sat down and went, okay, let's just think of something now and stick to it.
Yeah, so and originally, like, with our synopsis, it was specifically about a man who was a political prisoner. This man thought that he was a political prisoner, but in actual fact, he was a pedophile who'd been locked up, but he justifies what he's doing in his mind by these experiments that he did on children because he had the cure for cancer. And then we just cut that storyline altogether.
Just thought in making a piece for 20 minutes that's going to be developed, it was a little bit too complicated to fit into the 20-minute time frame, so we thought we'd better keep it a little bit more simple and focused.
So now, and we do want to call into question a couple of other things. So firstly, he is a pedophile. Secondly, he was abused as a child and he's reliving his abuse. And thirdly, that he's just insane and he hasn't actually committed any crime, but this is what he'd like to commit almost. Like, he would like to do this to the children, as in the fantasy of his mind. We are trying to disturb, and I don't think that's our intention. I just think it's a
I think it just happens, yeah. You know, I'm playing a character that has been experienced abuse and is an abuser and is
which isn't consistent with all pedophiles. Yeah. Which is important that we recognise that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so it's for me sort of picking the moments when I am that child being abused and when I'm the pedophile abusing someone and when I am the pedophile looking back on the abuse that I've done and that. I think it translates, but you know, and I don't mind too much that the audience may not understand.
I feel like as long as we're really clear with our intention and we go, okay, well at this point, and it helps that Sean's such a good actor because that helps with our kind of, like, he's the one that carries the story. So if he carries the story and follows his character's through line, then we can just play along to where he is with his mental state, and therefore we can define whether it's real or imagined. And there are key lines for us that we go, okay, so at this point we slip into a fantasy, like make the clowns begin to dance. It's like, we know that he's like the Pinocchio, bringing the boys to life. Like, we know that's what it is, and at that point it's a fantasy. Things like this, if the actors are really clear with their intention and where they are, even if the audience doesn't quite get it or aren't quite in line with your theory of it, your intensity towards your mental status, your through line, that intensity, the audience knows that something's happening, something's occurring.
And I think with this piece, you know, you have the words, which are that sort of beautiful poetry, but it also, the acting laid on top of it gives you a sense of
what's actually going
on.
And then we quite like the idea that this pedophile was speaking beautiful
language.
Because at the opening, like, I remember that they were saying in the feedback, you know, at the opening it's just this man, this poet in a bin. I want to play it as this is a man who genuinely loves the children he's with and can't bear the thought of them leaving him, and that's why he kills the children. What my opinion on pedophilia is irrelevant to playing that role, and that's, I think you have to play it without judgment.
My pillow is soft and white. Hold your breath breath now. Please don't fight.